All right, very quick video here on crypto, on the crypto miners actually specifically. So just do a quick start by looking at the Nasdaq. So my thesis is we're going lower. We're going to test this ascending support. Then eventually we'll go test the lows and then flush. Okay. Straight to the point, I'm bearish. Obviously not in one line. We'll sort of get to the ascending support. We'll bounce a little bit. We'll lose the ascending, test this one. We'll bounce again. And then we'll probably go straight down because by then the chart will look so obviously bearish that I don't think there'll be much buying here at the low. We've got to sort of anticipate what the chart will look like then with the time element, not just the price drop. So having said that, let's look very quickly at Bitcoin itself, which has followed the market very recently this week, because actually, obviously, it's flushed all the way down here. And after the FTX debacle, we moved back up. And then we had this bit of some sideways chop whilst the market was moving lower. So Bitcoin at some point, just before this CPI report, where all sectors just sort of got anchored together and moved in tandem, Bitcoin was actually outperforming. It wasn't going down when the markets were going down, and it was going up when the markets were going up. It's just post CPI, everything got sort of linked together, and there was aggressive move lower, which I predicted. I thought that would happen. Actually, pre-market on Tuesday after CPI, I thought we would just come lower, and that's what's happened. And we've lost the ascending support in Bitcoin, so we went lower. I drew this before actually that so far, yeah, we've lost the same support. It's doing what I think, and I think what will happen is what's drawn here. So sideways a bit. Monday we probably have a green day across the markets because we had 4 red days, but otherwise come back low. I don't know if some news is going to act as a catalyst, but I don't rate news. Sometimes I feel like news is the excuse for price action that would have happened anyway. Point is, I think we go lower, and as soon as we go lower here, it's not going to take much. Small bounce and then flush to new lows, wherever that is. 14,000, 12,000. We've heard all the targets. I think we do end up going there and even lower. So I think the markets are going lower. The general markets, Nasdaq, I think Bitcoin's going lower. Now, that's my little background because the point of this video is for me to bring up the crypto miners and look at them. They've already made new lows, right? They're weaker. They're underperforming the markets and Bitcoin. So look, Coinbase, very big crypto stock, already made new lows. MicroStrategy, Sailors, ready in 2 or 3 days to make new lows. I mean, if this one hits 100, very psychological support. I don't want to go back too much to look at the chart, but yeah, 100 will be support, maybe just above that. But isn't that when he gets wiped out, Michael Saylor? I don't know all the background behind where the margin call comes in, but this would be a very big one. This like Binance or Tether going or FTX. I feel like that's one of the very, very big ones that could drag the market lower on its own. Otherwise, we get the sort of senior, more popular crypto miners. Marathon, very good one of the best. But new lows already, underperforming the markets, underperforming crypto. RIOT, same sort of chart pattern, maybe not as weak recently, but new lows as of Friday. Bitfarm, okay, it bounced on Friday. Ooh, 10%, pretty good actually, but no difference in the general chart pattern. They're just absolutely weak. And then HUT8 also very, very weak. So these are amazing buys for the pump. That's my point. I am greedy. I want them as cheap as possible, and I don't think we're done going down, because if Bitcoin's going to go down another 30% or whatever, down to 10, 11, 12,000, if Nasdaq's not done making new lows, you can't expect these to not be red on such days. So I think you can get these cheaper, believe it or not, maybe 50% cheaper than where they are. There's one I own already, HIVE, which I've owned for a period. I owned here actually after this pump, and I never got some profit out of this one here. It came lower. I would trade it constantly, just little profits. Basically I was at a loss for this whole period. But then at this period here, and I remember the low was 10 cents. It did reverse split since. So that's why the chart, the price is all over the place. But the point is, here, this period here, this 100%. This is huge move. This is way more than 100%. This was from 10 cents to $1, I think. I traded out of that again, in and out, and I held some for the long move up. in Bitcoin, and it happened. Now I was out about half my position here. I think this was $1 when it broke out of $1. But by then I was out. I mean, I was in the green, in the black, sorry. So I was profitable once it broke out of $1. And then this, I've, made quite a lot of money on this move up. You can imagine it's hard not to make money, good money, when it's going up thousands of percentage points, really. I mean, this is like from, I think the low was 30 cents in Hive before it reverse splitted and went all the way up to $10 or something. Just incredible moves. And I held some stocks. And I'd be selling all the way up, at all these little technical points. And some of them were thousands of percentage returns. Some of the some of the shares I was selling, but I'd be selling all over the place. So I could have made so much more. And then on the way down, on the way back up. Now I've closed my position. I closed my position here when I thought crypto was losing its luster, I think Bitcoin was losing its key technical support at that point. This is after the $50,000 range. And I was all out. And then I was very happy to see it basically flush. I think it was 314 where I sold my last of Hive. Since then, I started to buy back here a little bit, traded it, still held a little bit on the way down. The point is, I need to put in about 10 times the amount I've got now. So I own such a small amount. I want it to go lower. I want to lose money on the whole, very little I own of Hive because I want it back to the absolute lows, which I think is possible. And the amount of money you can make on a bounce, and especially a big move up, if you're a buy and hold person, you put in a large amount and you leave it for 2 years, it's very possible, especially if Bitcoin goes back up to 50, 60, 7,000, that you get Hive all the way back up here, which used to be 10, now it's 30-ish, let's say. You retire on that. So anyway, the point is it's very cheap. I'm still very bearish, but what an even bigger opportunity it is, So don't get too greedy. Don't beg for the absolute all-time low or new all-time lows. Just keep what I say, machine gunning your way in, every 10 or 20% move down, maybe, or when you find a technical point. Just to use Hive, for example, I think at this point when we're at 189, you can just say 150 here, if you can see that zone, and then $1, just every 50-cent increment for Hive anyway. For the Marriage, the RIOTs, the Coinbase, it'd probably be different, but yeah, use the chart as your friend to gain more entry points. Don't go in too much. Don't do 100% in one go. I like to do 10% sort of entries and do the same thing on the way out. If you have 100% day, take something off the table. Even though when you look at this chart, you can see that it's going to make multiple 1,000% moves within a year. Still, I still recommend, and I still will do it next time. Take out a bit of money every time it has a crazy move, and then if you get that move right and it retraces, you can put back exactly what you sold or even more. So yeah, that's it. I'm bearish, but long term, super hyper bullish, and I think it's a great opportunity for those looking to retire early. It's just a lottery ticket. Anyway, otherwise, enjoy your weekend.